Hello, everyone. We're here today on the great day of our Lord and Savior, Sunday, in order to bring you a game between Dallas and Houston. And this team of Dallas is going to want to have the Lord on their side if they want to beat the powerhouse that is the Houston squad. I'm here today casting with my good play-by-play caster and friend, Unit Saber.
How's it going, everyone? It's good to be here, Trivia. I'm excited to cast this with you. It's going to be a great match.
I think it's going to be a great match as well. However, it is also a very late match, so we're going to go ahead and get right into the action.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I'm all amped up for this. Houston, as we all know, is currently the top team in the league, and Dallas has been on the rise too. They have a lot of really good players. In fact, as the captain of LAB, we had the distinct honor of getting 4-0'd by Dallas earlier this stage, so I know just how good they can be.
hmm And you know what I just realized, Unit Saber?
What's that?
I just realized. Hold on. Hold on. I just realized I didn't put it to a competitive preset. Feels good, man.
Nice. So yeah, this is just gonna be quick play, I guess, until the lobby gets restarted. Don't worry. The amateur
Restarting
hour,
match. There we go.
amateur hour league not only refers to the players. I just want the listeners
Why are
at
we
home to
on
realize
Busan now?
that we just want to go everywhere. We're sightseeing, you know. It's the whole world wants to watch this, so why not take this to Korea as well?
Okay. Everything's fine now. Everything is A-okay, and now we are good to go.
You know, third time's the charm. And honestly, I don't blame you for not really wanting to stay too long on Horizon Lunar Colony and try to go somewhere else. This map can get out of hand sometimes, as all assault maps, 2CP maps can be.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's unfortunate that Blizzard decided that this would be a game mode in the first place, but now it does present, you can say, a certainly interesting type of challenge. 2CP maps, for all of the trouble that they are at least a little interesting spice, whether or not it's a spice that most people seem to enjoy the flavor of. It will be
It's one of
interesting.
those matches. Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say, it's one of those matches where, like, you hate to be a part of it and playing, but when it's really good and really entertaining, you just love to watch.
Yeah, I like 2CP matches to stay 2CP matches. I'm not a big fan of when they turn into 10 CP matches, if you know what I'm saying. uh,
Oh, I've been a part of that before.
I'm laughing to hide the pain. But looking like, as we take a step back and look at what these two team compositions are at the moment, we're seeing a pretty interesting setup here on the defense. Cold Chill on the Widowmaker. He's probably looking to duel against the Houston Snipers, which it looks like they may not even be running for the Widowmaker at the moment. Cyclical, on the other hand, is on this Junkrat. I never disagree with that. Riptire, statistically the best ultimate in the game. Let's see if they can deal with this interesting setup coming away from Houston. Now they have this Mei, probably the best ladder hero in the game, and Hanzo, who has such a high amount of burst damage.
Oh, that's a huge early pick onto the opposing team's Moira. With Houston without their Moira, this attack's not going to last very long. Cyclical Lemming just able to take some free damage from the top, but Jadam able to get a solid charge onto the Reinhardt. They're winning this battle into this tiny room. They're trading blows, but ultimately I think it's just not going to be enough for the side of Houston to be able to continue off this, but they're pushing up. Moira is able to get back. The battle was able to last this long, so they are getting healed up. And now with the side of Dallas without their main tank, it's going to be tough for them to soak up all this damage as their Ana goes down. Maywall comes up, goes down just as fast. Lucius getting slowed down, not quite frozen, but long enough to get the Fire Strike through. They're bullying, absolutely bullying the Zarya now. Iwa isn't able to play the game, but the Junkrat's still able to feed off his ult shard. Gets one, gets two. I don't know if he's going to be able to get 3, 4, 5, and the 6, so it looks like it's going to be an early take by the Houston Galaxy.
Yeah, that was purely just very well done spawn advantage benefit from them. They might have lost the first two in that fight, Houston, but by actually managing to cut off some parts of Dallas from the rest of the team, they were able to get a two-man kill themselves, and as their spawns trickled in, they just kept on rolling that advantage further and further, and now it looks like they want to try and roll it into a fast capture of point B, but it's going to be stopped by many ultimates coming out from the side of Dallas all at the same time.
What a stop onto that Riptire, and yet Cyclical Lemming doesn't even care that he can't get a triple off that Riptire. He still gets two with the mine and the old-fashioned way. Iwa able to stop the push by the Houston Galaxy. Cold Chill pushing up forward, and it looks like this is going to be a dead push. Tribute, what do you think about the switch from Cold Chill off of the Widow and onto the Tracer?
Well, I mean, as we can see, it's already paying off in some form of dividends. Widowmaker is so difficult to find value against what the opposing side is running. Hitting Moira when she has such great movement ability, as well as Lucio, is very difficult, so you can't really pick off the supports. Mei is a kind of an easy target if you can get around the shield, but Leo presents such a threat. So it gets a little bit tricky in order to find any value, but we see him in the back line taking Mickey the Fallen out and now getting the final hit onto Ageless Beauty. I think as long as Cold Chill just kind of stays aggressive and a little bit unpredictable, this is a much better pick than his original Widowmaker.
Oh, what a sleep onto the Mei! Oh, that's going to be a huge stagger. She's not going to be able to get out of spawn and join this attack roll a little bit. Now, when you have a... Sorry. You were going to... when you have a 5-minute time being like on defense like this, what should your strategy be with alt-wise, especially with Dallas coming up with all 6 alts?
Well, your strategy on defense, ultimately, is to just try and, as is the case in most of these games, win with less ultimates than the opponent. Cyclical is going to shut that push down with 3K, with the tire. It's already over. Now it's Cold Chill going after more. He really doesn't have to get the kill on this Moira, he just kind of wants to. But to further answer your point, what you really want to do is what we just saw Cyclical do. You want to you want to stop every single push with one ultimate, and then that gives you time to bring back all of the ultimates that you used to stop the previous pushes. So if this next push, Iwa uses Graviton Surge, and Cyclical shoots into it, he'll be able to get a lot of ult charge, but Leo is going to be the one benefiting from the Graviton Surge as he tosses Dragon into it, but they're still trying pretty evenly, except for the DPS, Ana getting so much damage done.
Zero Zoru just popping up. What a clutch nade onto the Zarya too. Oh, that's a dead push, even after the Grav Dragons.
Even after the Grav Dragon, Cyclical just brought it all back around, as well as Zero Zoru. Just, how do you do that much damage? How do you bring it back from seemingly losing your front line so majorly? I don't know what they did. Did they go for a flank? I have no idea, but somehow they managed to sustain and survive, and all they had to use for it was the Pulse Bomb. So Cyclical already coming back on his Riptire yet again.
There really isn't much in the way of high ground that can contest this Junkrat from above either. It can kind of be the Hanzo as the Blizzard comes out. Oh, and Shortstop isn't able to get away in time, but he just has such a large health pool, even gets the Nano, that he isn't able to get killed by the Mei even as he's frozen. Oh! 2 Earth Shatters come out. Who's on top? Even trade so far. It's a 3v3 on point, but it looks like with the benefit of spawns and short stuff getting a solid fire strike on the opposing Hanzo, that they're going to come out of this the victors.
Yeah, but look at what just had to be expunged for the side of Dallas in order to actually sustain that. They only have one ultimate. Cold Chill's coming back up on his Pulse Bomb, but the fact of the matter is that really look at both teams. Both of them are so low on ultimate economy, so if Leo manages to find an early pick-off with this Dragon Strike, even if Hockeyman tries to keep his team alive into the team fight, as long as Houston can just sustain past that, they'll be okay. Or they can just pick off Hockeyman, take away the possibility of them using
huge
that ability.
By Equinox to bump short stuff off the high ground that allowed them to get the pick off Hockeyman, but it ended up not mattering much anyway as short stuff avenges his fallen comrade by trading.
It just seems like every single time, no matter what, Houston always gets the advantage into this fight, but there's always someone in the back line, someone they don't expect, who just comes out of nowhere and absolutely demolishes. Then keep in mind, Cyclical is almost has his Riptire yet again, but there's 2 picks to start this fight in favor of Houston.
Oh, that's gonna be a huge tire. Oh, 3, 1, 4 with the D-Mech. Cyclical Lemming just getting absolutely great value out of his Riptire. Zerazaru getting 1 from the grave. And we haven't mentioned this yet, but what do you think of Aegis Beauty's switch from the Zarya onto the D.Va?
I think it makes sense. I think he probably wants to try and eat Zerazaru's nades, or just the spam from Cyclic. I think that there's a lot of good reasons for it. However, to be honest, and I know that this is the meme, but I almost feel like there's a certain aspect of go goats, because then you get the Zarya to bubble from that spam, as well as the defense matrix. So I think that Houston are kind of stubbornly not running the meme, or the meme comp, the win comp, and I think that's going to hurt them quite a lot. And now the 2 teams...
Equinox only gets 1 with his... Oh, what a clutch nade onto their opposing Moira and their Ryan. Dallas just clean up at this point. Equinox gets 1 from the grave with his passes, but man, that's your main healer and your main tank just popping off right there.
I don't think it can really be understated just how insane it is that every single fight so far, there has not been a fight so far where Dallas has gotten the first pick. Every single time. First picks determine like 75% of fight wins in Overwatch. But so far, Houston's never been able to leverage it into anything.
Oh, well, it looks like they might have a chance here with JDM getting a huge 3-man shatter. Evo only managed to get a D-Mech. Gets the grab on the point, but only gets the Brig. As the ticks start coming in for the side of Houston, Zero just managing to get a nade onto 3 of them. Gets the sleep, but it's not going to stop the control meter from going any further. Dallas has no ults to work with, really, unless Liquid Commandant can get a quick Riptire. He does, but he dies to Equinox's counterpart, and... well, Trivia, you had to jinx it. They finally managed to take advantage of the early pick and their ultimate advantage.
Caster curse. Unfortunate for the side of Dallas, but it is true. Finally, after so long, after keeping in mind that Houston had like 6 minutes to capture the second point, it's always that last push. It's always the last push, isn't it? Especially on these 2 CP maps.
And you have no idea why it's always the last push. And even then, with 30 seconds left, I was actually questioning whether or not Houston was able to get everyone on point on time for a 6-man assault. But hey, they were able to do it, and props to them. And now if you're to the side of Dallas, you're thinking, okay, if we can just get both points with around a minute left, we'll have time, and Houston will have no time.
Should be interesting to see whether or not Dallas can manage that, though. We've seen them put up a stalwart defense, at least until the very end, but now can they put up just as strong of an attack? Cyclic is kind of limited by the fact that he is a very strong Junkrat, as we've clearly seen, but he is basically a Junkrat one-trick, and on attack, that can be a little bit difficult to find much value out of. We'll see going forward whether or not he's able to find something, especially because Horizon Lunar Colony, on attack, for a Junkrat, is kind of weird. It's kind of... you don't really have very good angles. You can spam onto the point, but that's the same for any map. Like, you're mainly shooting upwards, and that's very difficult to get value out of with a Junkrat. But it looks like the current Dallas comp is going to be kind of weird. So triple tank, Ana, Lucio, and a Junkrat. So we'll see how well they can respond to Leo, finally on this Widowmaker, the Houston snipers that we've been waiting for.
And already Equinox gets the first pick onto half of their the Dallas heals. And Kochil on D.Va, he's going to have to be the one who can harass the Widow from on high, because no one else simply has the mobility to contest her from up top.
Yeah, now look, they've kind of pigeonholed themselves, Dallas, and Zerazaru gets taken out early into the fight. Hockeyman's trying to get back in with his team. He'll just narrowly escaped Leo's sightlines. And now
you
Dallas
talk about
is in such
shooting
a weird
fish
position.
into a barrel.
Talk about that. Meanwhile, shooting fish onto some minefields as Ageless Beauty gets demeched, but the rest of the Houston squad doing a lot better than he is. It's going to be a dead
Yeah,
push beside Dallas.
Houston hasn't even lost anyone yet, and they're coming up on a couple of huge ults too. They're coming up on a Riptide already, and they have walls now. Cold Chill making the switch onto the Widow. Looks like they're just abandoning the triple tank lineup from now, as they're doing a hard reset near spawn.
But it is kind of interesting. So we've seen Cyclic still finding so much value. Still, like, even on this map where it's kind of difficult to be the Junkrat, he's still not doing very poor compared to the rest of the game. However, the rest of his team having a much rougher time of it as 2 picks get taken out already, and JP wants to take it even further, putting a Riptire right in the face of their tanks. Catches short stuff.
What do you think about using your tire in a situation like that? They had already gotten 2 picks. Is it worth it just to get extra stall knowing that you're going to build up your ult charge again? Or was that more of a, hey, disrespectful tire just to send him back to spawn?
Well, I think that the results of it kind of end up mattering more than the actual use, and the fact is that that could have been a tire that stopped a push, instead it killed an already dead one. So it probably, at its very best, tilted Dallas. Maybe it tilted short stuff, but that's about the most that they could hope for. Cold Chill getting aggressive on this Houston sniper. Cyclical getting aggressive on the floor.
Yeah, it's, once again, Cyclical just getting absolutely great value with his tires. And hey, you don't really need to contest the Widows as long as you kill everyone else on her team and stay away from her sight lines.
Yeah, no kidding. And now we see Leo swapping onto the Hanzo. He decided they wasn't getting nearly enough damage out, so there's a lot of spam coming from the Houston lineup. It'll be interesting to see how much value they manage to get out of that lucky pick here or there. It'll be especially strong against this Tracer. I'm not quite sure why Cold Chill's choosing to run it, but we'll see going forward if it finds much value.
It's a solid shatter, but just not enough damage to follow it up. Dallas making a very you have to wonder if short stuff just used that shatter to switch on to a different take. They've been running this Winston Reinhardt for a little bit, and while it worked on their initial attack, I'm not just quite sure if they want to keep running this onto the second control point.
I'm pretty sure I've seen Dallas run the double main tank before, and it's kind of worked out in their favor from time to time. I think that maybe they're hoping for it to find similar results here, but Winston gets so hard melted by this double spam comp, as does Reinhardt. Hockey Man falls into a trap and is taken out before this fight even begins. It's a Lucio, he'll be back in no time flat. However, Reinhardt gets beaten up so bad.
Equinox with the flank, and sorry, Cyclical with the flank, it gets shut down by Equinox really early on.
It do be that way sometimes. Now JP, another BM tire. Will it find anything? Short stuff yet again. It's the second tire kill after a fight's already been won onto short stuff. That's gotta start grinding some gears.
As a main tank, if you keep getting the brunt of those ults like that, it's hard, but you have to tell yourself that it's okay, at least I'm the one getting the brunt of those dumb ults. Meanwhile, Cyclical Lemming able to get that early pick. Is he able to get another 3k off this tire? He gets one, and Colcho manages to get out the other healer. D.Va ult onto the point just to try and stall, try and zone. Hoggman goes down to a pin. Nana goes out to the Winston. He's able to harass some people, but he doesn't really do too much damage. Short subs gets the shatter off. Doesn't really get anyone, but the kills are starting to come in. And once you're playing a 2v6, it's tough for the side of Houston to really try and contest this. Although Moira's doing a very good job of contesting this. JDam's coming back with the shatter. They don't really have a shield to block it with. Oh, but no one's able to get really caught in that. Good boop. They still haven't managed to get a takeoff with this attack somehow.
Yeah, the spawns are going to be coming back in fairly shortly. Leo gets the kill onto Zerazor. That's going to take away a lot of Dallas's sustainability. And now we see him trading evenly, but you can only trade evenly when one side has a small advantage for so long. Cyclical takes out two, but now the opposing tire comes out as well. They finally get that tick you were talking about, but I think that'll be all that they manage to find. Until they get a second one.
Oh, they barely got 2 ticks. And honestly, with 2 minutes left, that's enough time to build up ults again. They managed to get out a lot of ults from the side of Houston. Granted, they did have to use quite a bit of their own, but you know, they're going to be coming up on another Primal Rage. That'll help them with survivability. And if Kojo can stick this Pulse Bomb onto the Lucio or even the Junkrat, that'll be huge for them. Because again, while just getting that first pick can mean so much in a team fight.
Yeah, Cold Chill going through the main gates. He wants to try and force people towards his way, but he'll get a trade-off, dying to the Hanzo, and then using his own post bomb for the kill. How's this fight breaking down for us?
Yeah, short stuff is just swinging right. He's fire striking. He's just making space any way he can. The Hanzo isn't really able to touch, and Dallas gets their win condition. They're able to take the second point with time remaining on the clock.
Not only just with time remaining, but roughly a minute and a half, which means that they'll get another go at it, and the opposing side will not. We'll see just how much value they manage to find out of that. I think this is probably looking on the up and up if Dallas can just manage to get a very aggressive push in to begin with. May I recommend using a hamster ball?
Now, trivia, why would you say that? We all know that you are quite a prolific Hammond main, but what is it about Horizon Lunar Connery, or was it about the time bank that makes you recommend the use of a Hammond here?
I recommend the use of the hamster ball here because not only is Horizon Lunar Colony very clearly a map that benefits Hammond in so many ways, you can go up onto this top shelf right next to the point and slam down right into it and then hook onto one of these side doors and swing right out if necessary for the escape. Not only does it clearly benefit Hamster Ball so much, but what you really want in a crunch situation like this is to get your ultimate very quickly. And with Minefield, you can zone out the entire point just long enough to either force them to stand on the mines and take a lot of damage or die, or give up the point for so long that they have to give up a tick. Hamster Ball is really strong in this situation, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to be running them, much to my dismay.
And hamsters everywhere cried out in sorrow. As Stylus comes out in the attack, you did mention ults. It is interesting that Iwa goes to Zarya, because Grav can normally be a very long charging ult to go with. But with all the spam damage coming in and all the close-up damage that's going to be coming in with the Reaper, with the Junkrat, the Zarya might get pretty high charge. Oh, oh my gosh, they're just starting off with the kills already. There's no posturing, there's no waiting around. Already 3 picks on the side for Dallas against Houston. Everyone on their team is low though. But it looks like they're just going to be able to clean up here. Kocho absolutely uncontested. No one in Houston able to get him from afar. And that is going to be that. First map is going to go Dallas's way.
Yeah, well done from them, well deserved. It was all off the back of their incredible defense. All off of the back of that. And while they might have struggled a little bit on their attack as well, they managed to just find a way to break through with enough time to give themselves all the opportunity in the world. Short stuff with this play of the game. That's a spicy shatter you got there, my friend.
Ooh,
Jesus.
that is beautiful to watch. And honestly, good by short stuff. He never got tilted, even as we said. He kept getting those rip tires. He managed to stay with it, keep a level head, and they were able to get the win eventually.
13 rip tire kills, by the way.
Whew. I mean, every time he looked up, it seemed like he was getting 2 or 3 off of each rip tire, and you know, it really did come down to the usage of the rip tires. One side, Equinox, you know, for Houston, he was getting good value out of his rip tires, but he was using them a lot in pushes that were already dead, using them on only a tank when there was no threat of a push, while Cyclo Lemming was able to use them to initiate fights, to save fights, getting 2, 3, getting the backline, getting the squishies before they could provide much utility.
Yeah, and now, as we're about ready to prepare to go on to our next map, we will not actually be able to go on to it for quite a little bit of time, as Houston is requesting a 5-minute pause. So we're going to be in a pretty interesting position. I'm wondering why they're taking such a long pause. In fact, I'm kind of wondering if they're allowed to take a pause that long, to be honest.
I will ask in the captain's discussion room real quickly.
It is, I mean, that is a very long pause. That kind of, much in the way of any sort of sport, or any sort of competitive game, having a long pause like that can let your team have a lot of time to sort of reconvene and get your heads back on straight. But if you're the opponent who doesn't want that pause and you want to keep going off of
Mhm.
your momentum, it's not really fair to you to be told to take a 5 minute break, let your muscle joints cool down much more than you'd rather them do.
Yeah, with you're on the side of Dallas, you just beat Houston, right? Who everyone has been talking about as the number one team in the league, and you're thinking, man, like let's keep it going, let's keep it going, get them tilted, and now you're like, what is going on with the league or the casters or whoever allowing for this 5 minute break? Who's not letting us capitalize on this momentum? We just wiped them in the first real team fight on our attack when we only had a minute 30 to go. It looks like someone is having a quick bathroom break on the side of Houston, so I think we can mostly cancel out any malicious intent on that side. It just be like that sometimes, don't you think, Trivia?
It do be like that sometimes. You have to respect the bathroom break if you're gonna respect anything at all. Uh, so I mean, I'll allow it.
Well, you know what? I think it's fine. I guess in theory, I do kind of wish it had happened maybe before, but sometimes in the heat of the moment, you get that anxiety, you get that stress, nature calls and you can't put it down.
I'm kind of I am kind of interested about the fact that we don't really have any sort of rules technically for this. We legitimately have no pause rules. So anyone can just say, I want to pause for like 15 minutes, and technically I don't think that anyone could do anything about it. Huh.
It's a good thing to bring up important topics. I think in general we just have to respect the league and respect the players. This isn't on land. We're not all in person. We have to trust that someone on the other team actually has some sort of pressing need, pressing emergency where they can't play for a short amount of time. I think if it ever got excessive, people would definitely be questioning a little bit. But I think if someone had like a major emergency or they had to abruptly go, people would understand, or they would try and find a substitute.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see just how long the Houston player needs to take this bathroom break. I hope everything comes out just all right. Uh,
The Houston player who will remain anonymous. We don't
the
want to throw anyone under the bus or under the porta potty, as it would be.
mm-hmm. Don't wanna. You gotta respect a man's privacy to go to the bathroom and delay roughly 25 other people. Look, it do be like that sometimes. That's all you can say. That's all you can say in moments like this. We're good to go. All right. Not only are we good to go, we're good to go right on to Ilios. Ilios, garbage by any other name is still just garbage. And that's what I think of Ilios. Make of that what you
What?
will.
You don't love seeing some beautiful boobs for the boop god?
I do love seeing beautiful boops for the boop god, but Ilios is it's almost too boop centric. So I like the well map. I think that the
Mhm.
well map is great. Uh, Lighthouse, on the other hand, is kind of weird. It's a very, very small point.
Mhm.
Like, it is the smallest point in the game. And I don't. Like, I think that's interesting, but I think that the way it's positioned of being the smallest point in the game and having so many ways of booping the opponents off the map is kind of a bit weird.
Mhm.
And Ruins is just the worst map in the game.
Not unless you're a widow main.
Not unless you're a Widow main, but man, oh man, if you are literally anyone else, worst map in the game. It's worse than the 2CP maps. It's worse than every single one of them. Any single time I see Ilios Ruins, I kind of consider just like going Bastion and suiciding again and again and again until it's finally over, just to pass the time in a way that will cause me less pain. But we're not there just yet. Right now we're on the well, and it looks like both teams are playing this Orisa in order to try and benefit from the pulling capability that one can have. But JP is on this Pharah, and no one on the side of Dallas can really contest him up in the air.
Nope, and they're going to lose a huge chunk of their damage too, with Leo getting the early pick onto Cyclical Lemming. He was kind of out of position on the left side. I think he was just trying to spam damage as they were coming in, but he was just had no cover for himself.
Yeah, and we see JP still rang a little bit of death from above. These kills are going in favor of the side of Houston pretty sharply. No one's really
what
able...
a clutch nade! Hanzo in the back, Leo has like 2 health. He finally is able to get healed up after purple runs out.
Well, pretty interesting to see. Well, Leo almost goes into the pit with that wall climb. He's just about A-OK as Houston takes the first capture and begin moving it towards their favor on this percentage. They might have lost the first map in this set, but they don't want to lose this second one, at least sitting down. They want to try and show why they're considered the best team in the league at this moment.
Yeah, what was really key about this engagement is that Short Stuff and the 2 healers were able to stay alive for so long in that right side that they were able to build up some ultimates, that they were able to build up some charge. But inevitably, JP Quinox, he must have heard us about him not getting enough value with his ults as he gets too with his barrage.
Cold Chill.
And that's an interesting laid by Cold Chill. You have to wonder if he might be switching off here.
It's very possible, but at the very least, it got the new beat to expend his ultimate, so not a bad use of the blade, all things considered. And Cold Chill is now on the Tracer. Bit of an interesting play here. Dallas actually have managed to capture.
Oh, what
the
a
point.
sleep onto JDam! Yo, Zero Zoro just pulling their own weight on all this map, with the sleep, with the nades. And while they did manage to cap point, it's not going to be for very long.
Well, they're going to try and contest this as long as they can. They probably want to reach about 30% or so before giving this up. And while that might be a little bit too much to ask Santa for on the Christmas list, it's going to be, unfortunately, Santa isn't real, kids. He's not going to be able to deliver.
Also, it's not even Halloween yet, so Santa's still, he's still making his list, and he has yet to check it twice.
That as
JP
well.
Just spamming Justice from above. Cyclical Lemming really needs some help getting some of these rocket off, and I don't know how Cold Chill just died there. Oh, what a boop onto Iwa.
What a boop on Iwa. It's cyclic on this tactical visor. Soldier didn't actually manage to find anything. Meanwhile, JP helping to bury the opponent's chances, their hopes and dreams with that barrage, and he will basically succeed chasing after Hockey Man, getting the kill onto him as well. Now 2 teams are kind of staging here, but look, this is the last chance saloon if you're the Dallas squad, and they're not even going to be able to touch. It's going to be Houston taking the first map.
Yeah, Dallas was just never able to get their footing here. They never really were able to build up ult charges fast enough, and one team has control of the point for so long. It's not like 2CP or payload where you have 2-3 minutes to try and stall them. It's 1 second for every percentage, so if they start at 0 and go all the way to 100, that's a minute 40 right there. And you usually want to consider around 2 minutes a good time for a switch where you can get an ultimate in. So we're going on to your second favorite map on Ilios, on Lighthouse here. And let's see if we get any more boops out of either side.
Well, we might just see that as Leo and Newbeat, as well as Hockey Man, have the capability of doing that. However, we see one side, Houston, running this GOATS comp. You love to see it, and you know you don't. Pin comes through onto JDam. We manage to clash in the realms of the battlefield, but Houston will get the first pick. Cyclical Lemming taking that with that fire strike.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but you know, when in doubt, goats it out, and Houston wants to leave no doubt in their mind that they can take this map. They really don't want to go down 2-0 in this series, and so they want to make a statement here on Ilios that they are a force to be reckoned with. They are still the Giants of Houston. Although, they do lose JDam very late in that fight when they really didn't need to. The supports are able to keep themselves alive on the side of Dallas, and now they're going to be able to attack with short stuff still coming back from spawn. So they'll be without their main take to soak up damage, and really the primary source of their burst. They're not able to take advantage of that delay though, as JDam is able to get back in time with the shield.
Yeah, now take a look at the ultimates on the side of Houston. They have this rally, they have the coalescence, and they have the Diva Bomb. That's all the sustain and massive burst damage that you could ever want. I have no idea what just happened. JDam used his slam, but it actually didn't go through. I'm not quite sure why.
He has 5 health. He's got to die. 0-0 with the... Oh! Siglulemi, I was just about to say, if he wants any chance of winning this fight, he needs to get the value he got on Horizon Lunar Colony with his Riptires. And you know what? They're able to just stop Goats in their tracks. Now, if you're to the side of Houston, do you stick on to Goats, knowing that they have the Junkrat to spam damage and really melt your tanks down, or do you stick with it knowing that you're coming up with a grab and rally and really not much else? Oh, Shadow gets blocked here.
Well, I think it's kind of an interesting decision. I think this bomb will kind of determine a lot of it. So we see the new beat taking down JDam a little bit before him. There's currently a 4v6 in favor of the Dallas squad. Make that a 3v6. Now we see Brigitte trying her very best, but will get taken out as well. I think that what we're seeing right here is just that Dallas is kind of getting more and more leverage as these fights go on. So JP has the checkmate here. He has the Graviton Surge, which no one on Dallas can technically counter. They don't have a Zinnia. They don't. They can use the Lucio ultimate, but that can't really sustain if the entire 6-man of Houston starts doing damage. So I think all just kind of depends. And meanwhile, Cyclical Lemming wants to stop this push in its tracks using this Riptire. Will he actually find anything with it? I don't think he did. No, he didn't find a single thing.
Iwa is able to get back into her mech. Oh, thankfully just in time as JDam lands that shatter. Oh, Cyclical does get one from the grave though, even though he wasn't able to get anything with his Riptire. And Short Stuff pushed maybe a little too far, but he had to send him back down to spawn.
New beat also getting melted down. Laser beam tracking from Cold Chill. And now we have 3 ultimates on both sides, locked and loaded, ready to go. With Iwa's coming up, that's going to be a 4. A little bit of an advantage for the side of Dallas here in Ultimate Economy. And they only have to win one more fight, so let's see if they can manage it. Graviton comes out.
Double grabs, double beats, but Short Stuff is the first one to drop. Cyclical Lemming needs to get 2, and he does. He gets 2 of the support line. Oh, as Cyclical Lemming now gets the entire support line for Houston. It's just JP Equinox alone on the point. Takes his own life. He says, "You're not taking me alive," and we are taking it to a map 3.
And you know what that means? That means we're going on to Ruins, baby. Ruins. More like ruins my life. More like ruins the game. I hate it. But, we'll see whether or not Houston decides to stay on this Goats comp. Didn't really get them any much in the way of dividends beforehand. No, they want to put Leo on this Widowmaker. As you said before, there's such a strong Widowmaker map. Probably the only hero who gets quite a lot of value out of this map, more so than the others. And what will be Dallas's answer? It looks like they're keeping things basically as they were. Cyclic still staying on this Junkrat, still hoping to get a lot of spam damage, but this means they're not going to have anyone who can counter JP Equinox, who's now on this Pharah. They're not going to have the range or the hit scan. It'll have to be Iwa who takes him out, if anyone.
Yeah, they're not really going to have anyone to contest either DPS on the side of Houston. Sure, sometimes you can get away with playing around one DPS and ignoring them, but both of them? Not really going to be possible for the side of Dallas, and they only have the Diva to contest the Pharah, and that's only every time her boosters are off cooldown. Charge comes in from Short Stuff, isn't able to manage to land on it. I think Cyclical Lemming does get taken down. The 2 DPS line for Houston just able to do whatever they want with no contest.
Yeah,
Short Stuff eventually goes down, and this is a dead fight.
Yeah, Cold Chill now trying to get away. Leo knows how much damage he did with that headshot and wanted to go for the finishing blow, but just didn't manage it through the sight lines. And we see Leo already has the first to his ultimate in this round, basically eclipsing most of even his own teammates' ult percentages. They mostly have like 45% or so. Meanwhile, he already has his. Isn't that wild? Now Cold Chill is on the counter Widowmaker. They know that they can't leave so much in the air. Now Cyclical as well on this.
Ooh, that's a huge pick.
Yeah, that is a huge pick to start it off. And Cold Chill getting another onto Leo. That's going to be a 6v4 in favor of Dallas. They have to make something out of this as Cold Chill gets into a brawl with the Pharah. Loses.
But at that point, it doesn't even matter that he lost the duel. He won the war, they've won the point. And eventually, they are going to be able to harass the Pharah enough, especially with 2 long-range hit scans in the Soldier and the Widow.
No, but it's the supports who are going to be tracking down the Pharah and confirming that kill. You love to see it. You love to see Leo also back in black. He sees his targets and he wants to go after him. Now in a bit of a duel with Cold Chill, Leo decides he's not a fan of that, decides to relocate.
Short Stuff goes for the Shatter immediately after getting pinned, but JDam reads him perfectly and is able to put the barrier up. Oh! JDam took so much damage, he wasn't able to get the resources as people were trying to hide from the bomb. Leo managed to get his counterpart in Cold Chill. Soundbeat comes out from Newbeat, whereas Equinox comes out with the barrage, managed to get one, and this fight is gonna go the way of Houston, but Dallas did manage to get almost 50% of the meter going before having to eventually give it up. This might go 99-99.
It's very possible. Keep in mind, if you're Houston, you want to keep this a 1-1, but if you're Dallas, you want to pad out your lead as much as you can, so this match matters probably even more so than Horizon did for both of these teams. We'll see, as there's a little bit of a will duel going on. They're both kind of slightly contesting each other. Leo has the advantage of having this barrier, though, so I'm not quite sure what Cold Chill feels he's going to get out of this, and it looks like he begins to retreat. JP Equinox will be the first to fall. Houston has
and what a huge slam by Short Stuff. He managed to read the Reinhardt perfectly, saw when the shield was going to go down. Mickey is able to get a res off on the Lucifer. Really, at that point, it's just trying to speed boost everyone out so that they don't feed any more ult charge. If they're able to get out, and they're not, Short Stuff is just absolutely dominating on Ryan right now, and he's halfway to his ult again.
And now we'll see. Cold Chill has this infra sight, so he knows when and where the enemy is going to be coming from. He sees the Pharah off to the right side. Once again, early pick off onto her, almost succeeds. These two teams are about equal in ult percentages, or not in ult percentages, about equal in terms of capture percentage, but one side, Short Stuff, is going to follow JDam's Shatter, but Cyclical is the one who's actually going to find so much value with this ultimate on the Soldier.
I know it's easy to get lost in the DPS, it's easy to get lost among all the tank fights, and granted, the tanks are doing really well, but Zerozoru has really been carrying this team. He's been doing, whether it's on the Moira, whether it's on the Ana, even then as Lucio, anticipating the Shatter, getting the barrier oftentimes, so even though most of his team did fall to the Shatter, they were able to not die to the damage. Oh, what a huge bomb by Ewa! The Shatter only got onto the Widow. Short Stuff takes JDam with him. And that is a 2-0 start from Dallas. Who could have seen this coming?
I certainly did not, and to be honest, I don't think that anyone saw that 4K Diva Bomb coming. In fact, I didn't even hear a Diva Bomb be released, but we're going to get to see it yet again here right now. When does Iwa decide to pop this? So he just throws it up in the air. He just throws it up, and it just falls, killing 4. Incredible. That's it. He knew. He put down the spray. The Dallas spray. Iwa, 68% kill participation. Jesus.
That is crazy. JDam 2 did a very good job, but honestly, Zerozoru, unsung MVP. If he doesn't get that barrier off when 3 of his teammates got Shatter, that's a lost fight right there. They're not able to contest, and honestly, with Houston at 76%, they would have had to rush on to point, and who knows if they're able to retake the point at that juncture. It looks like we're going to have to take a small pause in between matches, and this is now the side of Dallas, who needs to go on a bathroom break.
Well, that's just how it be sometimes. Everyone needs to take a bathroom break every once in a while, I suppose. All right.
Trivia, it is really unfair, because the casters, as casters, we don't really get the chance to go on bathroom breaks. Now, every once in a while, we can eat a salad on stream. I'm not saying who, but others have done that themselves. But where's our bathroom break? Where's our union pay?
Well, you see, here's the thing. You need to understand, Unit Saber. The fact of the matter is that there's a sort of social hierarchy. And despite the fact that under normal circumstances, the people who are the most productive in a society would normally get a lot of the value or power, which would basically be the casters. Despite the fact that we're some of the most productive in society, we're actually considered near the bottom of the barrel, which I think says quite a lot about our society as a whole, and the society of this fascist AHC. But everyone's back from their backroom breaks. We're ready to go right into Numbani. Let's see if Houston can begin their reverse sweep or if Dallas cements their Dallas dominance.
Yeah, I don't know if we can quite seize the means of production, but Dallas is hoping to seize the means of the series.
Oh, God. Seize the means of production. Mana, where's part 2 of that Communist Manifesto? I'm still waiting for it. We're not going to be waiting too long for Houston to get their chance to go on the offense here. Rabbits wants me to cast Zarazoru as pause play because he is pause play. But I'm not going to do that because you cast as whoever the name is. So I'll let it be known right now that Zarazoru is pause play. But I'm going to cast him as Zarazoru. Because, you know, that's his name.
Well, I will call him pause play. And so that way we can get a healthy balance so old listeners don't get confused on where Zerazaru suddenly went. And new viewers can understand that they would rather prefer going by pause play. Either way, their pause play, their stop start, their Zerazaru, they are popping off. Like, their sleeps, their nades, again, so clutch. Their alt their alts have been very good as well. Apparently, we have just found out word as well that pause identifies as an Apache attack opter. So, good thing to keep in mind there.
So brave. So progressive. Cyclic, already readying up these Junkrat traps. Junkrat very strong on this map. He's already been playing him so well on maps where Junkrat isn't necessarily the best hero for the round, and now when he has a bit of an advantage with all of the angles going in his favor, especially on this defense, it'll be interesting to see just how much value he finds. Will it be as much as Leo on this sniper or JP on this Pharah yet again?
They're going with an interesting Pharah modified dive. And they're able to get 2 picks early on. Pause play, 0-0, whatever they may be. They might have to figure out their identity and spawn. Leo able to get 2-3 picks early on, and it's going to be a quick take by Houston unless, for some reason, Cold Chill is able to take on all 6 of Houston by himself, as no one of Houston has died yet.
No man could do it, but Cold Chill is more than a man. Unfortunately, he's also a dead man, as is Zerazoru. Gets his head popped right back off, right back into spawn. Pause your game, play the respawn timer.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's the caster's curse. I was hyping up pause play a little too much, and now they have to think about their actions back in spawn. The switches come in from Dallas. They were originally on a Ryan Zarya comp. Now he was on the Diva. Shatter comes in from the Reinhardt. He's able to get a pin. He's able to get a DMEC. Also able to get JDM with the Fire Strike. So they're going to be able to hold for a little bit here, but it's just so close to the Houston spawn that you really have to wonder if you want to hold by the choke or if you want to hold a little farther back from the bus.
Yeah, however, Houston will get at least a little bit of a foothold. How much will that foothold really benefit them? Cold Chill swapped off of the Widowmaker onto the Genji. He decided he wasn't beating Leo anytime soon, and now a bit of a brawl is brewing as 2 begin to fall for Dallas. Make that a 3rd.
Short stuff, it says that short stuff got taken out by the Widow, but what really happened is as he went to pin the payload, he somehow got booped, got tagged, and then went off the map. And the last thing to hit him was Leo. But hey, I'm sure Leo's not gonna mind the final blow there.
You love to see it. A bit of an interesting place for a Diva Bomb, but it manages to find Cyclic either way, as well as the DMEC. That was very weird, but also got them dividends. I don't know if Dallas is going to be able to actually contest this at the end, and if they do, it'll be a paltry fight. No, they decide we can't even touch.
They decide to touch right after they give it a point, and now they're just trying to go back and retreat. Iwa does have pause play and Hockey Man in the back line to keep him alive, but they're really gonna have to go back. They can't afford to lose Iwa here, especially with his Diva Bomb online. Cyclical Lemming, you know, he was able to switch. Oh, what a sleep on the JDM, and Short Stuff follows it up with a solid pin. Pause Play able to get the Nano onto Short Stuff as his last dying breath, and they're finally able to stabilize this. Cold Chill cleans up.
Yeah, a bit of an odd little duel there. It just seemed like so many individual fights that just happened to go the favor of Dallas because they just so happened to win the ground war. And now going forward, 4 ultimates on either side with a 5th on the way for both. Grant, one of them is a remech and one is an actual ultimate, so we'll see just how much value these two teams can get out of a relatively even position as Colchill pulls out the blade. What does he find?
He finds Newbie. He's taken down by Leo as Cyclical Lemming decides to follow up. He decides to follow up good money with bad as he gets a solo kill onto the Widow with his tac visor. Short Stuff not able to get really anyone with his shatter. Equinox takes his own life. He just says, you know what, this is a lost fight, let's go back and spawn, let's reset.
Yeah, they're going to be forced to hard reset as well as Dallas begins chasing them. The grave is no safe place for Houston. The Reapers are coming yet again. But now Dallas decides, okay, let's go back to our base camp of this payload and wait and see what their next play is.
Pause Play switched from Diana to a Moira in that last team fight after using the Nano, and they already have Coalescence online. Now, Moira does tend to get her ult very quickly, but still, Cyclical Lemming gets the early pick onto Equinox. Leo decides to forego the Widow that was popping off and decides to go Reaper. Streams are crossing everywhere as Mickey and Pause Play both decide to pop their Coalescences, but things are generally going the way of Houston. There's not much healing, not much damage on the side of Dallas, and in fact, not much in the way of players outside of spawn. It was almost a team wipe at that point.
Yeah, Dallas will get one more chance to recontest this. Diva Bomb in a pretty interesting place, and when I say interesting, I mean pretty awkward. It won't manage to find absolutely anyone. Short Stuff has this shatter. He's looking for an opportunity to use it, but so does JDam. They have to be careful about this. JP pops his ultimate. He trades with Cyclic, who's also using his. The slam comes down, manages to find 2.
And yet, JDam comes in with the counter shatter, and he's able to follow up more on that damage. Kuchil needs to get a couple with this ult. He's able to get anyone as Leo is able to just die everyone on the side of Dallas as they take the 3rd point with 2 minutes and 23 seconds to go.
What a good little edgelord Leo was, and we've seen him really, we've seen JWags, I think, be the Widowmaker of Houston, and we've seen Leo be able to substitute that role, but most of the time we end up seeing Leo eventually swap onto the Reaper, and he always manages to find quite a lot of value off of that if the Widowmaker isn't working out, and we see that Houston manages to finish this up with 2.5 minutes left to go. Not a bad position for them at all.
Yeah, honestly, at that point, they were just wanting, as you were saying, Dallas was just able to win on the ground game. They were able to dominate there, so Houston decided, okay, we'll take it to the ground too. We'll just brawl you out on point, and as good as Soldier can be at hitting from afar, if Reaper is able to just get in his face, he can melt down him, he can melt down the pings pretty quickly. Meanwhile, Pause Play going on the Zenyatta briefly was on the Mercy. We haven't seen this from Pause Play yet, but if his Ana and his Moira is anything to consider, I'm expecting good things. The Discords can be really important, trying to get them from afar. Now goes to Lucio, so discount everything I was saying before. Gotta love it when you try to figure out team comps while they're still in spawn. Coachel on the Widow. It's gonna be tough for Coachel to find high ground to really establish, since the Reinhardt is gonna be limited to places he can get to from the stairs. But if he can get a surprise pick, it'll be huge. Equinox on the Torbjorn. Now, Torbjorn is enabled in this league. He was enabled in comp earlier this week, so we'll be able to see the Torbjorn. Let's see if they can get any value with their turret. They've set up the Orisa defense on the top right side, whereas Dallas is coming out from the left.
Should be interesting as well because Cold Chill on the sniper, JP Equinox on that Torbjorn has such a gigantic head hitbox, as does the Reaper, as does JDam on this Orisa. So really, so many fantastic targets for a Widowmaker to hit so many consecutive headshots, or at least just bodies. But Cold Chill's starting to get pressured out.
Culture was able to shoot for inconsistent bit a little while from behind, but eventually Ageless is able to focus him down. Torbjorn able to set up his turret, gets his turret down, falls. Eventually, this might actually go the way of Dallas as my man Pause Play starts to pop off, gets the D-Mech, gets the Diva, gets his counterpart in the Lucio. He says there can only be one Lucio here, as the control meter starts on his way and the payload will be moving quite shortly.
Yeah, only a minute and a half or so burned, and Houston's not going to get a recontest onto this, and we see them now swapping onto the classic, the Pharah. They wanted to go Torb, they wanted to see if they could find much value. They might have expected Dallas to run a Pharah of their own, but no, not quite. Now we see JP, death from above. He goes in at an angle that Cold Chill doesn't expect and gets an early pick off onto him. Ageless Fury finding another one onto the other DPS of the Dallas side. Fight gets underway.
Shortstop able to get quite a few with his shatter, but here he's just his charge just takes him a little too far. He got a little too aggressive with the Ryan, and no one was really moving payload, so it's still around this corner where it's hard for the Widow to get sightlines for Cold Chill. He does have walls, which is helpful, but it's not. You don't really get much value out of it from here at this point. Well, maybe if you're Cyclical Lemming and you can pinpoint your mines, they break out both support ults on the side of Dallas with their Coalescence, with their Sound Barrier. It does manage to keep Short Stuff alive, so on the short term, it's a good call. Iwa and Short Stuff able to block that shatter together. Cyclical Lemming right on cue gets two more with his tire as Iwa interrupts the duel between Aegis Beauty as a baby diva and Cold Chill on the Widow. Now, with Cyclical Lemming, do you agree with the usage of the tire there? As he duels the Pharah in this tiny room and loses?
I think it was about as decent of a use of a tire as you could get. Not necessarily as good of one, but as decent of one. You confirm 2 kills, you make sure that no one can test for long enough for respawns to come in and stop you from getting it all the way to the end. I actually think it was a pretty good use, all things considered. But we'll see now. Maybe he wishes he would have had it as they begin to slowly push this payload forward. It's kind of interesting. Half the team so forward taking space and half the team pushing the payload. Normally you'd see maybe one person on the payload pushing it and 5 people ahead, but they decided to split up, and it's not necessarily doing too bad so far.
Right. Shortstop was able to really get a lot of value out of his shatter. He really only got one, but it was the Moira. And as we know, Moira does a lot of healing. He tries to get the pin, but the Moira still had Wraith. She's able to get away. Equinox sends Cyclical Lemming back in spawn, and interestingly enough, Iwa is the one who's been on cart duty. Usually you have one of the supports. Shortstop gets Reaper off screen somewhere. No more tank counters for you. Shortstop on 80% to shatter. I'm honestly shocked that they decided to pop Grav and Coalescence here. I was thinking that they might be content to lose this fight and come back with a bunch of ults.
Not quite so. It looks like they wanted that to be their all-or-nothing gamble and didn't pay off in the way that they expected it to, so now they're going to be struggling quite a bit. Cold Chill just trying to stay alive. He's not able to escape Leo, and he's going to be sent right back to the spawn rooms. This familiar carpetry and drapes that he feels he just saw mere seconds ago, he will see yet again, and now he swaps onto the Widow to get a little bit of a change of pace.
Leo able to just get people up in the high room, and now they're really hoping that they had either of their support ults, but it looks like it might be until the 2-minute mark until either one of them is able to get one. And that's the thing with all or nothing gambles. Sometimes you get nothing. The entire team decides to come up to where the 2 DPS line for Houston is. They rush in here. trying to get an early pick, trying to establish dominance. Leo gets solo, in fact, actually dies with his Death Blossom. Tire comes out on the side of Cyclical Lemming. Counter Shatter comes in from short stuff. He completely read JDam like a book, like an overdue library book that he doesn't want to pay the fine for. Now it's just one Moira on the point. How long can she last against an entire team? Not very long, it seems.
These two teams that could get so close in this time bank as long as Dallas can just take them out right here and now, but they're not doing it. They're not doing it fast enough. They're not doing it. They're not really doing it at all, as a matter of fact. They finally get the kill onto Leo, but he's done all the damage he needed to. These respawns are coming in for the side of Houston. This is going to be it. There's no way that Cold Chill, by his lonesome, could possibly stop this. Hold on, they only have .01 left to go. Dallas is bringing this back around.
Gets another shatter. Holy crap.
All they have to do is try and get them off this point. Can they do it? They have that sustain of that healing Lucio, and now JDam scrambling, trying to stay alive as best as he can. How did Dallas flip this back around and get in the very end?
It was so huge. Aegis Beauty was able to get a grab. I think he got 4 onto in that grab, and then for some reason, the Pharah for Houston decides to rocket barrage from up close range, and Cyclical Lemming had one shot, right? He needed to burst her down before she could break the right shield, and he did. He was able to get the rocket onto her, melt her quickly. Leo only got 1 from his Death Blossom. Short Stuff was able to build up his Shatter again, cause some destruction, and by the end, because the Lucio was the first one to die from the Death Blossom, he was able to get back past this. So, man, what a round in Bonnie's been. Neither side wants to back down. Houston doesn't want to lose this series. If they lose this map, they lose the series. It's 3-0 to Dallas, and Dallas wants to put it in the grave early. Nobody really wants this to go to a map 4 and map 5. Sorry, Dallas doesn't want this to go to a map 4 and map 5, whereas Houston desperately does not want to be the last meaningful map of this match.
Yeah, I mean, well done from both sides so far, and now Dallas is going to be a bit of an interesting place. They, technically speaking, have about 30 seconds less than their opponents, but that still leaves them 2 minutes to burn. That's enough for their entire team to get ultimates, and we'll see if they even need them to capture this first point. Just might if they're going to be playing into Leo's Reaper yet again, but we'll see how it all begins to break down. Doesn't look like anything special is coming out here. This is kind of both these teams' bread and butter, their quintessential dishes. If they were a restaurant, they had one signature, these would be the two teams so far, and we'll see how much value they find out of as Cold Chill goes towards the back and tries to get a flank on a JDam.
Pharah is able to shoot from behind. She doesn't have the Mercy though, so she can get focused down early, as Hockeyman just does that with his primary fire. She does manage to get short stuff early. The trades are coming in one after the other, but the side of Dallas just has more people on point. If they can just get rid of the Baby Diva, they'll have this point, they'll have the payload coming in. Cyclical Lemming decides to switch to the Soldier, probably to get back earlier, probably also to contest the Pharah from above. Coach coming onto this pulse bomb. If he can land this on a squishy early on, that's going to be huge. If he could get an early pick, just because that spawn is just so far away. Cast the Curse, he completely whips it. And this is going to be a huge fight here. If you could get past this little corner, you might be able to get it all the way to second point. Just because of how terrible the spawns are for defense.
This was a very difficult choke point to actually push past, but Cold Chill is coming back in. We'll see if they can get the value that they need. JP is coming up on this barrage, though. That should be the ultimate that decides this fight, if we're being quite honest. Aegis Beauty also has his Diva Bomb, but I'll be surprised if that finds much of anything. It does not. Cold Chill gets Mickey.
Cold Chill gets Mickey. That was huge. But
it's a good start,
Dallas
but a better
lost 2.
one. Yep.
Lost 3. It's going to be tough. They have no heals, really. Hockeyman needs to pop this Coalescence, keep everyone alive. Equinox still has this barrage. It's just going to be a disrespectful barrage, I imagine, at the end to keep anyone from being on point. Ewa on the Hammond just to stall.
Good old stalling power. Just to survive the barrage, but there's only so much you can do.
Short stuff with
Huge.
a 5-man shatter! Oh my gosh, what a crazy... If they're able to follow up on this, they're not quite able to. Cyclical goes on his comfort pick of the Junkrat, Cold Chill able to get the pulse bomb. Leo getting the kills on both Hockey Man and Cyclical Lemming. There's just Iwa, there's just Zoro onto this. Mickey somehow gets to pick res off. I guess it's easier when most of the side is dead. Aegis Beauty manages to clean up with the Diva Bomb, and Dallas has to be disappointed with just how far they were able to go.
We'll see now whether or not Dallas can put up as stalwart of a defense that time around. Hopefully a more stalwart one is what Dallas want here. Basically, their goal is to stop the enemy team from even capturing the first point to begin with, and we'll see if they manage to do it this time. Remember that last time Houston managed to capture it extremely quickly. On the very first push, they were able to push in to a seemingly a little bit of chaotic and unorganized Dallas team and pick them off one by one. They didn't respect JP on that far. They didn't respect Leo on the Widowmaker, and it cost them quite dearly. Let's see if they make the same mistake this time around. This is where this map will be decided. This is where maybe this set will be decided. Will Dallas show that they can beat Houston, or will Houston begin to show why exactly they're considered one of, if not the best team in the league so far? Keep in mind, they've never lost a single game in the regular season. They are still undefeated in the regular season. They've lost in playoffs, but not in the regular season. So will Dallas be the first team who actually manages to look at that galaxy and take it down?
Cold Chill and Cyclical Lemming trying to do their best to take down the Pharah of the Galaxy too. They both went Pharah counters. They are not leaving anything to chance. Cyclical not going to his tried and true Junkrat. Cyclical Lemming on his own actually on the top left drops down even though he had the high ground. He's a little bit by himself now. Oh, quick kills by short stuff. Solid pin. Iwa able to take down the Pharah. Everyone knows Zarya is the best counter to a Pharah. Able to get the D-Mech. Gets Ageless. Oh, short stuff goes down, but with the beneficial spawn advantage for the defense, they should be able to reset here. Now, given that they had 2.5 minutes, I don't think Houston's all that disappointed with their first push getting killed like this.
Nah, now this basically puts them roughly even with where Dallas started, and we saw how far they managed to get it, so now we're going to look and see. JP is actually on this Junkrat now. It's a bit interesting. Junkrat struggles to find a lot of value on attack here, for being quite honest, especially if you're not a Junkrat to the level of Cyclic. So we'll see how much value he gets out of this. I think they're still trying to lean on Leo quite a lot here. But
Shortstop has a Shatter, and when you're running dive, you don't have anyone to block that Shatter. He's able to get 3. Cold Chill follows up with the Deadeye, gets a total of 4 in that fight. And now, as you heard, there's only 60 seconds left, as JP Equinox has to go back into spawn.
50 seconds left to go. Ageless gets chased out, left in the baby form. They're probably going to leave him to his devices. He doesn't have the time, really, to go forward here. He's going to get picked off. That's going to send him back to the spawn doors. They'll be able to wait for him to return, but this puts them at maybe about a push and a half to only 1 push now worth of time. But Ageless does have this bomb.
Oh my god.
Mickey the Fallen calls.
Mickey the Fallen lives up to his name. Fallen and spawn, huge nade to keep the soldier down. Cyclical Lemming is able to just run rampant. They're just holding them near their spawn. Bomb comes through. Iwa is the only one to fall from it. Equinox actually able to get Cold Chill in the back. He's alone with Hockey Man. Hockey Man goes down and I guess didn't have Fade. Will they be able to touch? They will. They'll have 2 here. It's just going to be short stuff. It's going to be a 2-on-2 short stuff with Cyclical Lemming. He gets the Shatter off. Oh, he got booped up in the air, but it doesn't matter. He's still able to land it. Again, they have no shields that can really block the Shatter. Huge nade onto Ageless Beauty. Can't get the benefits of the Valk. Mickey the Fallen brings back JP from the land of the Fallen. Short stuff tries to get a pin in, but he dies. Houston might actually take this. Dallas pushing up so far might have been their downfall. Iwa dying to that Diva Bomb just gave Houston so much time to go around, touch point, get Hockey with that JP Equinox Riptire. And now Hockey Man, Iwa, they're going to be so late coming to this fight. They might have to try and fight this 4v6. No, Iwa was able to get the better spawn, but they'll be down a healer. That's going to be very, very tough. especially with the point right here to contest. Short stuff on another Shatter. He's gonna need to make this a big one. He needs to get a lot of follow-up. Cyclical Lemming needs to save his minds for that Shatter. He's able to get 4! He's able to get 5! He gets everyone but the Winston. He gets Leo, he gets Mickey, they get Newbie, they get Equinox. Are they going to get the Houston Galaxy? Aegis Beauty trapped! And Houston goes down 3-0. The unbeaten kings of the AHC are no more. And Dallas, fueled to a win, have gone up in the series 3-0. Boy, this was something, wasn't it, Trivia?
Well, that was really something. It was very interesting to me just how much space and room the side of Dallas were able to push up, and that ended up being their downfall. I thought that was a very poetic sort of way for them to go down in that particular first point attack, but in the end, all it came down to was short stuff looking around. As you've said before, it is so massive, so very massive, to be a Reinhardt playing against a Winston with a Shatter, because nothing can really stop your Shatter other than that paltry bubble. And he waited until that bubble was broken, got the 5-man Shatter. It was all over from then on. It was a massacre. It was over. But now we still have one more map to play for the sake of map differentials, and that's going to be the map of Dorado.
Dallas also lost one person.
Is it another bathroom break?
No, it's a comp break. Grub apparently, Grub Merc is going to be subbing in, but they're in a comp game right now. So he's going to be coming back whenever that ends. Man, what a series this has been. Everyone, and like we've obviously been giving a lot of props to short stuff, a lot of props to pause play. But honestly, everyone on Dallas has really been stepping it up. And credit to Houston, they didn't go down without a fight. This has been a very close map throughout. But at the end, they just did not have an answer to Short Stuff's Rhine and Cyclical on the DPS. And Zero's pause play, just whether it's with the nades, whether it's the booth, whether it's with the barriers, just constantly outplaying Houston mind games.
Yeah, now we see on the Discord, Dallas is trying to say, oh, isn't it unfortunate that Grub is in a comp game? Chill had to leave. We can't control this. Come on.
Yeah, it's well, and Houston has to be stewing, right? If you're unbeaten and you lose, and like granted with HC, as much as with Overwatch League, even less so than with Overwatch League, we have very few ties to the actual cities that we represent. I myself have only been to LA once in my life, despite being the captain of the LA Battery. And yet there's a little bit to it, right, with Dallas versus Houston, as Grub is able to come in eventually. You know, like, if you're Houston, the last team you want to get 4-0'd by is Dallas, right? Because everyone's going to be bringing it up to you. You want to get that one map, even if it's just for the sake of pride.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not Dallas is able to secure this 4-0, get themselves a nice, healthy lead in our current stage standings. Should be interesting to see how they've already won this round, but on Dorado, anything could happen. Someone could even play a hamster ball. It won't happen, but someone could.
So, I was watching the stream yesterday, and you mentioned that Dorado is the best hamster map. Now, why is that for you?
Dorado is the best hamster map, mainly on... well, really on all 3 points. That's why it's the best hamster map. So, on the first point, in this first section, you can stay on top of the building, slam down on the enemy, hook onto a building, run away. You can do it better than any other map. There are more places to land on people than any other map. There are better mine fielding spots than any other map because of the way that the map is designed. The map in general favors tanks with a lot of mobility, so dive tanks. And in particular, hamster ball is the best at benefiting from that particular sort of speed and ferocity that you can have with those diving strats just because of, again, the way the map is designed. Like, it all really comes down to pile driver. It all really comes down to that pile driver can be used to its absolute best on this map, and because you can use pile driver to the absolute best on this map, you can get more minefields, which this map is also really good for minefields. So again, everything just kind of syncs together really well for Hamster on this map in particular, but that doesn't mean that we're going to see him now or ever, I guess. Feels bad. It do be like that sometimes. Dive tanks on the side of Houston. It do be
Ewell
like
on
that.
the side of Reinhardt this time. I guess Short Stuff said, my back's aching, I've had enough carrying for today. Someone else take on the hammer. Ewell, though, not a bad Reinhardt in his own right, as he proves just immediately there. He's able to get the early pick onto the Winston.
Yeah, they're just chasing him all the way back into the spawn. Cyclic getting a quick kill onto Mickey the Fallen, blowing up that little Swedish body of his. Now there's still, this is kind of reminding me of a map we might have just played where Dallas perhaps got a little bit overzealous with how much they pushed on the enemy team spawn and suffered quite a lot for it. We see JP now in the back lines doing a little bit of damage. He had to retreat because he got low, but still hoping to get some ult charge or maybe an unsuspecting kill. If he finds the opportunity. A nade comes through, so is a tire. Everyone's falling on the side of Houston, but again, does it even matter? They're right in their spawn.
Yeah, the Dragons comes in, the tire comes in, but it doesn't matter because, 10 seconds later, they're just going to be back out there. Oh, what great tank interplay. Short Stuff doesn't even care about the D.Va behind him because he knows Ewa's going to come in from behind and just charge him and send him back onto spawn. Or demec him, actually, which is even better. Aegis now finally gets the glory of going back into spawn by themselves. Mickey goes to Mei, who you've called the best hero on ladder at this point.
I have, yes, because Mei on ladder does so much. She's so good for contesting the objectives. Which is a reason, similarly, why Hamster is so good on ladder. Being able to contest objectives means quite a lot. But into this fight, I'll explain in just a second. Aegis gets the first pick onto Grubmerk. Now the rest of the battle begins underway. The EMP came through, but it didn't actually get onto anyone that anyone could follow up on for the side of Houston. So while they're going to keep on pushing this point forward, the numbers are still going to be fairly even. It's merely because the fight has moved location, not necessarily that Houston is winning it clearly enough at the point.
Yeah, Leo uses this nano onto the Winston, try and give him a little bit more sustain, and Pause Play uses the nano onto the Moira. You have to wonder whether it was a fat finger or it was a 900 IQ play that I just simply cannot comprehend. Well, with the Coalescence, he is able to do a ton of damage, able to take out Mickey and another one of the members of Houston, as they're able to eventually win here. Pause Play with the stagger onto the baby D.Va, sleeps her, and now they're just looking over her as she sleeps, as she goes back to spawn. Hopefully it was a nice nap, Ageless, because you do need the beauty rest.
Give that baby a cradle and tell her a good night story. She was slept, sent all the way back to her maker, and now the two sides ready to go at it yet again with a huge advantage coming in for Dallas as they begin to pop all these ultimates. What is the Tire gonna find?
Tire actually
Finds
doesn't
two.
get. Oh, I was a little too early. I meant Grav doesn't actually get anyone, but Tire manages to get two. Hanzo uses a very good zoning ult in the Dragons with 37 seconds to go. Pause Play able to take down the fire from above. What do you think about Leo having played support for this round? He is a very good sniper. Was playing Ana, but now is going on to the the Moira.
I think that from both teams, what we're seeing right now is just them being a little bit experimental. They kind of respect that if this game is basically over, even if the map differential is there. Both these teams have such a huge advantage in their map differentials that really they're probably both going to playoffs in the end, probably stage playoffs as well. So I think they're using this as a moment for experimentation more than anything else. Whether or not one side gets the advantage here, but it is eventually Houston actually looking like they might manage to at least get to second with a little bit of a team wipe.
Cyclical Lemming needs to get a huge tire again, and he does! I need to stop saying that Cyclical Lemming needs to get a huge tire and just say he's going to get a huge tire.
seems like it's a little bit more accurate. Just come out and say that JP trying his very best to contest and survive at the same time, but that's a little bit too much on his plate. The bird falls down, and they hardly really managed to get that far into first. I mean, we've seen this kind of play from Dallas before. I say that Dorado is the best hamster map. I think Dorado might be the best Dallas map. We've seen them in their show match against San Fran do such a strong first point hold. We see them now doing again another very strong first point hold against Houston of all teams. I don't know what it is particularly about this map. I think it in large part is very beneficial to Junkrat because you're
Right,
shooting
with the high
down.
ground.
Yes, you're shooting down. Even the roads themselves are ramped downwards from the perspective of the defense, so those mines and shots travel even farther. I think that that's quite a large part of it. So we'll see whether or not they're managing to get anything else out of this. It should be interesting to see. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Dallas is going to make it to the end. I think that most people at this point can very clearly say Dallas is going to make it to the end and probably secure this 4-0. But it looks
It's not
like
a
they're
very
gonna...
far away end.
It's not very far away, and no. But it looks like the way that Dallas is going to go about reaching that end is going to be kind of interesting. Currently, Short Stuff is on this hamster ball. Hopefully he stays. He's not going to. He's still in... Yep.
One day. One day.
One day.
I will also say, as with Lab, we actually got 4-0'd by Dallas ourselves, and we got destroyed on Dorado. And we'll also say that, you know, as someone who was the recipient of all those mines coming from above, they can get really impressive. Dallas coming out with a one-tank triple DPS lineup with a Doomfist. I guess he just wants to get in the back line and disrupt them as much as he can.
Well, think about it, right? So, if you're Dallas, you have to win one fight. What's the best way to secure one fight? To have as many opportunities for a single person popping off as possible, or to just have all these spam damage and picks. I mean, it's all perfectly set up for them. Even if it goes all the way to, like, the last couple seconds, as long as they have 6 ultimates and they just completely smash the enemy team into the ground, there's no way that Coalescence can survive a Rip Tire and a Slam Down and Grub Merc on this Tracer with the Pulse Bomb or Grub Merc on a Mei and a Nanoed Reinhardt. Like, there's just so much that the 2 healers that the side of Houston is playing right now cannot possibly hope to stop. Question will be whether or not Dallas does go for a play like that, or if they're just going to start popping ults as soon as they get them. They have this Rip Tire, and it's in a pretty good position for it as well. And it gets melted.
Well, this time I wasn't going to say that he needs to get something big, and you know, the one time I don't say that, he actually has it destroyed. But, oh, now they're just breaking out every single ult from both sides. Grav comes in, only gets Short Stuff, who's nanoed currently, gets the nade, is able to get healed up. Everyone low on the side of Houston. Aegis Beauty about to go down, Equinox out of his little icicle. JDM coming back in, gets pinned, so that's actually going to be ended. Pause Play gets one last nade onto him. And unless Leo can pull a rabbit out of his hat, which he can't, Dallas gets the clean sweep over Houston.
Dallas gets the clean sweep over Houston. 4-0 victory that didn't even need the tire in the end to do it, but certainly helped them along the way, and that's why we see that as the play of the game. Let's see which one of the many Rip Tires was this.
Yep.
The 2. The 2, and then the kill onto the body. Absolutely disgusting. Well, time for some interviews, if I do say so myself. Who to interview though?
You know what? Short Stuff was very good, but honestly, let's give it to Pause Play. Let's let him explain a little bit about his name, and also the healers never get enough time in the spotlight, and I feel like we need to give them some props for keeping this team alive, because you know the DPS, the tanks can't do it if they're not getting the proper support.
Yeah, I suppose that you are correct. So we're gonna go ahead, invite Pause Play, or aka Zeru Zoru, into the party for a quick little interview with our boy. The message has been sent. Short wants an interview. Iwa wants an interview. I'm not interviewing any of you because you want it. I can't give you interviews. Um, that's how it works. Interview short. No, but pause play. But pause play was so
Short
good.
honestly was very, very good. I mean, as a
Pause doesn't want interview. What do you mean? He doesn't talk. What do you mean?
wait, he doesn't talk and he's able to do all of that?
So
Hey there, my guy.
Hey.
Go ahead and make sure that you have your mic set up so
It-
that people can hear you.
it should. It does.
Okay.
Get you in here too, dude. We gotta get the double interview, dude.
Why though?
You won't shut
What-
up if you don't. That's I don't
Pause
want to
play
deal with
only speaks when he has to. What does that even
Yeah.
mean?
that. He doesn't do interviews.
Yo, what's up?
Alright. Okay. So Ewa, make sure that yours is good.
Yeah,
that
it
you-
always is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. So you guys have managed to 4-0 Houston, who have never lost a main season game.
Let's go.
They only lost to a Smurf, boys, and then us.
Oh boy.
But they got
Um,
3-1 with
Oh,
this.
We're not even gonna get into that. Not even gonna get into that. Way too much to already talk about. How did you guys 4-0 Houston?
I ate crabs.
um, we focused JDam for one when he overextended, and we just kind of bullied him. And when we had Chill, we just got him to focus Leo, because they're really normally their two carries. So we just focused them two and cleaned up basically the rest of the fights. Plus, sick of getting like 3-man tires almost every fight. That doesn't hurt either.
Obviously.
yeah, definitely. One of the things I noticed too with short stuff, and I mentioned this in the broadcast quite a few times, is that when you're a Rhine and you get to play against a dive team, you just know you gotta get fast shatters every time. What enabled you to get those shatters? What was the positioning? How did you know that, okay, this is when I need to shatter and my team's gonna follow up on it?
I mean, I figure to get the ult charge, I figure they're gonna dive pause, so I stay closer to him normally. So when they jump on him, I can try to help protect Herb, and I get more ult charge that way.
hmm
And I just wait till they kind of group up and just hope they follow up on me.
So do you guys
Yeah,
make any
no-
sort of call-outs like break the bubble or things like that? Because I imagine that, again, the only thing that can really stop a Reinhardt against a dive team is that bubble. So particularly on Numbani at the very end when you got that 5-man shatter to basically end the game, the only thing that was between you and that shatter was getting that bubble popped. So did you guys talk about that at all? Like, were there any comms, or it just kind of happened?
No, we just kind of do it without comms most of the time.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Because even though Chill and Iwa are both semi-new to the team, I'd say that we signed them at the beginning of the stage. They really formed well with our team without a lot of work,
Mhm.
I'd say. So like, I can hear Iwa just blushing in the background.
I talk the most on the team. I
Oh,
yell.
No,
at
you
them.
definitely
I
don't.
yell. I
So,
say like, "Hey, kill this guy. He's bad."
You're I'm-
you guys
I,
go ahead.
it also helps so that when I'm available to play a lot more because I'm kind of our in-game leader. I feel like, even though I feel like we can have like 3 of them,
Uh-huh.
so that helps. And
Make the comps.
One thing I did want to ask you guys about, especially because we weren't able to get pause play into this game, into this interview, was how do you enable him so much? Because every time I was watching him, he was getting crazy sleeps, solid nades. He was able to keep you alive short stuff with the nanos. There was one time, particular in Numbani, where he was on a nanos you. You're able to survive that by get 2k, and then he comes back as Moira and is able to get coalescence for the next fight. So when you have a support like that, what is your main mentality with working around them?
he's just a god in all senses I can say.
He doesn't even talk. He like just does stuff. And
Yeah,
doesn't tell
he
us.
hardly talks, and he's just like every once in a while he'll call, he's asleep. But
Yeah,
So-
short stuff. I saw the Baby Diva sleep on Dorado, where you guys just waited to send them
Yeah.
back to spawn for as long as possible. That was very nice.
Now, you guys
And-
on Horizon, you guys
Mhm.
basically started a man down in every single fight, and yet you still
Yeah.
basically held until it got into overtime. Now, clearly, a large part of that can be contributed to the fact that you have Cyclic getting a kill with the like every single fight, either a 3K with the tires or in the backline. But was there any sort of like was there any sort of frustration there, or was there anything like, it doesn't even matter, Cyclic, just carry, just be a god, go get him?
funnily enough, we actually did talk about it during that game. We were like, what makes us so good is if Cyclic's not popping off and hard carrying us, we have someone else hard carrying that. And then funnily enough, the next fight, I popped off and got a 4K.
Hmm.
Or
So-
then Ewa will get like a 5-man grab or something like that.
Yeah, Dallas is a very, very strong individual team. You guys now have Chill, you have Cyclic who gets gigantic tires, which are already mathematically the best ultimates in the game.
Hmm.
Iwa, who you've sniped from Shanghai, uh, short stuff, doing all of the shatters at the end of the games. So whereas Houston have really strong players like J-Wags or Leo, who's able to come in pretty consistently every single match, it ends up not really mattering, especially in this game, because Dallas is basically a team of carries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that's
Yeah.
like the weak side of Houston is their healers. There's like,
Mhm.
Yes.
they need to get better healers. Not trying to.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I would say
mean-
though, having watched the game, it seemed like your two healers were just outplaying them every time. There was especially a moment on Numbani where short stuff you and I believe 3 others got shattered in that last team fight on Ruins. And Pause Play was able to get off the barrier just in time to keep everyone alive, and then you were able to counter shatter and get so much value out of that. So yeah, your healers were popping off. It was just so much fun to watch, and honestly, I gotta say, as the captain of LAB, I'm pretty happy to see that Houston has joined the ranks of those furrowed by you guys.
Yeah.
One more question
yeah, go
before we go ahead and wrap this up, because we do have to leave some time for whoever has to set up the next game. Why is Dallas so good on Dorado?
I don't know. We've kind of just memed on most of the times we've played Dorado. I'm not
I
gonna
always
lie.
play Reinhardt and Dorado.
When
I always
when
feel
will
like-
that meme include hamster ball?
It about happened today. It about happened today. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, I could, but then Shore would just yell at me for playing hamster. He's
No,
like,
no, 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 no. It's not just because you play hamster. It's because that
Dorado
time
is
I
the
was
best
we were trying to
hamster
practice
map.
something. I about played hamster today. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
About
you should
happened.
Well-
have. Again, best hamster map, best map in the game because it's best hamster map. All right, that's about it for us. I don't think that Houston wants
I-
to be interviewed.
I do want to say one thing though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like hockey doesn't get the respect that he deserves
Oh
Really
no,
though,
hockey was so good. Yes, hockey was
because
very, very good.
hockey pops off a lot, especially on the
Hmm.
Lucio,
Hmm.
and we joke around it a lot because most of the time we just force him on Lucio, even though he's a tracer main. So like we have Chill, who's theoretically a Lucio main. We play him on DPS and have our tracer main play Lucio, but it works out really well with our team for some reason. And yeah, his speed boost comes in huge whenever we play our aggression.
Hmm.
That's really all I have to say.
Well, all I can say about it is I didn't see anything, so I have to assume that Hockey Man is the weak link of the Dallas line. Anyway, so that's going to be it for us. Good luck, whoever has to cast this next game. It might be me. Lol. Uh, Adios, everyone. Uh, Goodbye. Thank you, Dallas, for coming in for this double interview. You kind of forced it, but that's okay.
I mean,
Thanks to all the listeners.
All right. Thank you, unit. I am the main caster. Fuck you. Um. Okay, and that's where the broadcast stops.